Crypto investment firm Arca tracking the crypto markets. Gaming and NFTs are taking the biggest hit, with prices down almost 82% year to date. Joining us now to discuss the state of NFTs is John Linden, CEO of Mythical Games. Welcome to the show, John. So Mythical Games, they're a major player in the blockchain-enabled gaming space, and your team has experience working on massive hits like Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. You've opened the doors to NFT gaming. So what has been the impact of the downturn to that segment of business?
Yeah, I think from the gaming perspective, we're seeing not as big of an impact. Honestly, we're still seeing, in gaming, a lot of these assets are not the $200,000 NFT art collections that have had some compressed prices. A lot of ours are in the $10, $20, $30 range, and we really haven't seen as much of a downturn that maybe the rest of the industry has seen so far.
So you're seeing gaming is recession-proof, or like trading volumes and price?
It's had a history of that in the past, but I think it's a price point. It's a little bit different factor, and it's a little bit different way of how people want to engage. And I think there's just additional utility. So people kind of view them as a little bit different asset than maybe like a pure art collectible.
All right. We're also seeing this NFT volumes from OpenSea, one of the dominant NFT platforms out there. So is there any difference in trading volumes and price on Mythical Games?
Yeah, I mean, so far, like I said, with our chain, with our NFT sales, we've actually seen kind of continued growth. So we really haven't seen a massive compression that the OpenSeas and some of the other marketplaces have seen currently.
Why do you think there's that difference between the OpenSeas out there and Mythical Games?
Well, I think that, we're kind of moving from kind of the period of just having an art collection and being able to build a community around that to really, what do we do with these? Like, what's the purpose of having this digital asset? And I think gaming provides so much utility. You can constantly kind of use that asset for entertainment. You can kind of use it to grow your experiences within online worlds and virtual worlds.
So do you hope to make all your games compatible with NFTs eventually?
I think we see a trend of it. I don't know if it's a one size fits all necessarily, but I do think what we see with the concept of digital assets is the ideas of owning these digital assets and having them change throughout as you're playing in a gaming experience. We think it's super powerful. We've already seen a lot of great kind of utility that's come out of that. We've seen new game design models that can come out of that. And we're starting to grow that. Our game Blankos Block Party, which was one of the first game we had put out, it's actually coming to Epic Game Store next month. So we're actually really kind of growing that audience and really starting to get closer into that mainstream gaming audience than we started with kind of just the Web3 audience. Okay,
and you also have some news. You're partnering with the NFL to launch the Rarity League. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've actually partnered with the NFL, and both the NFL and the NFL Players Association. And really what we're kind of rolling out is a game called NFL Rivals. So NFL Rivals will be the first officially licensed video game that leverages blockchain from the NFL and NFLPA, really allowing fans and players to step into the shoes of this general manager role. So players can come into this free-to-play game. They'll be able to assemble their player rosters. They can build, they can level up and improve their lineup. So it's really kind of driving into that arcade style, inspiration we've played in the past of these sports games, kind of taking the best of those games and building this action-packed, accessible game that people can come in. And there are NFTs kind of throughout for both kind of the player side and then what we're announcing with the Rarity League. So the Rarity League essentially is an officially licensed, fan-inspired collection of these kind of one-of-a-kind NFL team helmets. So as you can see, we didn't necessarily just take the logo and put it on the side of the helmet. We actually worked with all 32 teams to really drive into what is that this kind of that crazy fan culture, and how do we basically express that? So each of these helmets is completely unique. There'll be $2,500 per team. We just rolled out the first two teams, the Super Bowl championship teams last year for the Los Angeles Rams and the Bengals. So if you go to rarityleague.com, you can actually see those that are up for sale right now. And then we'll be rolling out the other 30 teams from the NFL, over the next couple months here.
And if you buy these NFTs, is it kind of confined to the game, or can you transport them to other metaverses in the Mythical Games world, like the block parties that you just spoke about?
Yeah. So right now, I say we've been mostly focused on the NFL Rivals experience. That's been our key focus around these helmets, but they could be used anywhere else. And in fact, like I said, we're adopting these NFTs for the Rarity League NFTs into the NFL Rivals games. So NFL Rivals is going to be offering functionality if you have one of these helmets. So there's some basic stuff like you'll get access to the beta that comes out later this year. So if you wanted to get it early, you can if you have one of these Rarity League helmets, you can come in early. We're also giving future access or early access to future drops. So as we start going after the player NFTs, the NFT Rarity holders will be able to get first access to those. But most importantly, there's actual game functionality we're going to be rolling out. So the biggest item we're looking at is we're kind of using these as a tokenized guild structure. So if you have one of these helmets, you can come into NFL Rivals and you'll be able to claim one of these guilds. And once you have one of these guilds in the game, you can now recruit all of these free-to-play players to join your guild, your team, and be able to compete against the other Rarity League team holders. So you'll have in-game tournaments, you'll have access to really, really rare items that you might not have as just a free-to-play player. So it really starts changing that social dynamic between, being part of a team, or do I go solo and try it on my own?
And people who have bought NFTs, are you seeing big fluctuations in price at all? Is it pretty stable, or are people trying to profit or make money off of these? What are you seeing in terms of that?
There's always some speculation for sure. I think we're actually trying to design around the speculation, right? We really just want to give great utility within these games. Yeah, we do love the fact that if you come into a game, you can play, you can level up, and maybe you have an opportunity to get a nice profit out of it if that's what you were able to achieve. But our view really is a kind of about opening up these NFTs and opening up digital items for new gameplay. So how do I suddenly evolve a character, or maybe I have to burn old characters to get new characters? We think that's a really, really interesting opportunity. And really what it starts doing is starts giving players the ability to be more entrepreneurial in these virtual games. And I think that's the part we get excited about. So things like that, things like collaborations we think have been really exciting. The idea of bringing esports closer into games through the concept of NFTs and letting people really have this ability to monetize their influence. We think that's the most powerful kind of uses of it. The players are definitely along for the ride. We've definitely seen, I think on average, the Blankos kind of grew about 5x. Over a year. So if you had one, it grew in value over time, but it's really up to the community on what they decide these prices are.
I also noticed that Mythical Games is building on the EOSIO blockchain. So why that one, and would you consider others?
That's a great question. That's a little bit of a 2018 thing. So we were pretty early in the space. And to be real honest, what we're seeing with like the Ethereum merge, we kind of saw that in 2018. We didn't like the idea of having these massive gas fees. If you think about things like, if you're selling a $200,000 JPEG, you might be able to pay a $60 gas fee. If you're selling a $10 video game item, it's just cost prohibitive to have these big external fees. So in 2018, we really believed in proof of stake networks. And at the time, EOSIO was really kind of the forerunner in that space. So we've built really our own chain, our own Mythical chain, kind of forked off of the EOSIO. We added our own level of kind of EVM compatibility over the top. We added bridges back to Ethereum and all that. That said, we actually have been working on a new chain for the last couple of years. And we actually have a chain in testnet right now that is fully EVM compatible. So I'd say, as EVM's caught up to proof of stake, we've definitely been leaning heavier into that tech stack.
So you're thinking of, going into Ethereum?
We'll save that for another talk here at some point here. But yeah, we're definitely working through those challenges. And again, I think EVM is definitely taking the market, and I think it'll continue to do that in gaming. So it's actually working with our current chain just because we built these layers on top of it. But we definitely see some efficiencies having a true kind of EVM chain behind the scenes. So these Rarity League assets, the way we structured this is that they are on mainnet. So you can actually go to an OpenSea and buy one. You can go to rarityleague.com and buy one. And then you'll be able to bridge them into the game very easily. So that's what we love. We love about kind of the EVM layer is it's very easy to kind of move assets back and forth.